Hello there, Egil. Oh, I did not see you sitting there.
Oh, I'm a man of mystery, me.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
Now, today we're here for a kind of a new series. I'm calling this series History Chats.
Ooh.
And this is where we can sit down together, as we do, unrehearsed, and talk about various subjects of Dark Age history. So, I am your host for today. I am Bragi.
Hi, Egil, and I'm very nervous.
And today we're going to talk about crime and punishment in the age of the Saxons, something which Egil knows a lot about.
Well, I know something of.
Over to Egil.
Right, now, today, the crime is perpetrated, you call the police. Police again, detectives, and eventually you catch the person and it goes before a judge and jury.
Yes.
And whatever happens, happens.
Slap on the wrist.
Whatever. Now, if we go back to the time of the Saxon period, things were a little more wild. There was no police force, obviously. You had the Jarl or the Lord, and he had his huskarls, housemen. That was about it, really. So, what do? Now, imagine somebody came to Bragi's house and...
Stole my sack.
Yeah. What does
Odds.
he do? If he was there
Oi!
at the time, he'd yell, "Oi, get off my stuff!" And there'd be crowds of people around, and so they would just chase the man. It's called the hue and cry. What happened to him? Well, it's quite possible he'd get beaten up and maybe even killed. That's the basis of it. Or, if you knew who it was and there's nobody around, Bragi could sit outside the hound's house with a knife and think, "I'm going to get you."
I'm going to club you.
Yeah. So that's one, well, that's two forms.
But would that make me a criminal?
Criminal?
Criminal, yes.
No,
I can't say that word.
because presumably you tell somebody what's going on and you do that. So that's one form. Do you want to just cover the Saxons or do you want the Viking bits as
Just the
well?
Saxons. We can
Okay.
come back to another episode on the Vikings.
Now, when Christianity came around, you had trial by ordeal. Now, the average village, let's say, the average village would be about the size of your primary school class. And you'd know everybody by name. You'd know a little bit about them, not an awful amount, but you know each other. So if things started to disappear and a stranger appears, pretty odds on that it's the stranger who's done it. So you go before the altar of the church, and it's a man. You'd say, "We think this man is a thief." Okay, says trial by ordeal. In front of the altar would be a hearth, like a barbecue, with an iron bar on it, heating up till it's red hot. The man would have to pick, the accused would have to pick up the iron rod, walk, not run, 13 steps and place it in a trough. They would then bind his hand up. After 3 days, they'd undo it. If it was infected, he was guilty. If it was clean, he was innocent. If you're a woman, there would be a pot full of boiling water. A stone would be in it. The accused would have to put a hand in up to the wrist, one case. If there was more than one case of theft, she'd have to go in up to her elbow, again bandaged up. And if the limb was clean, she was innocent.
What would happen if you refuse to do them? You know, you don't want to put your hand in the boiling water or pick up the hot rod.
I don't think you have any choice because there's people with sharp things who would persuade you. But the thing is, people could say, and quite rightly, that's a horrible thing to do. The first instance, I think it would be, what they're going to do to me if I admit it. Probably give you a beating, make me put the stuff back. Got to be better than sticking your hand on a piece of hot iron or into some boiling water.
Indeed, yes.
So, yeah, it was me. The punishment would be settled by I assume the bishop or the lord, and everyone would go home happy. I think they're more interested in getting the stuff back. So, that was in effect till about the 13th century. There were other laws brought in by King Alfred and fines.
Peace tie.
Peace tie is one thing, we'll explain to the viewers peace tie. There's one there and I've
Can't get it out.
Now imagine me and Bragi have had a few drinks and he calls me something very unsavoury and I'm carrying my sword and I'm angry. So what do? I draw my sword. Hang on, I can't draw my sword. Put it back and I think, well, he didn't really mean it. That has been avoided. So the peace tie, you had to wear that. Also carrying spears, and it's obvious that people were injured because if you took an eye out it was so much and you had to carry it at a certain angle and things like that. So there's that. But there's another part of Anglo Saxon law, it's not codified, and that's the women folk. They are called peace weavers. Now again, imagine me and Bragi, we've had a bit to drink, we get a bit lippy with each other.
Oi!
And all of a sudden, one of us or both of us, we're going to have a fight. Just as we're about to lay into each other, in the middle comes the woman and says, right, behave, and she parts us. You sit down, you shut up, down. And you listen to the housewife. That's the woman who ruled it. She has avoided confrontation. So you think, okay, so it's a fist fight. No, it could go to something called a blood feud, where me and him, who are pals, suddenly become enemies.
Don't like you anymore.
He gets married as a son. I get married and have a son. And we say, those lot over there.
Yeah, they're horrible, that lot.
In fact, there was a book written by one of my late lecturers, Dr. Fletcher, and it's called Blood Feud, and it went on for 60 years.
And that's crazy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you find that in the 19th century America.
Well, of course you do, in the Civil War.
Well, I mean, there's the McCoys and...
The Hatfields.
Yeah, and that went on over a pig.
I think of the Hatfields.
Yeah, and it was just over a pig, wasn't it?
I know, but, that's
but little things...
bacon's important.
Yeah, whether it's worth killing people for.
No, probably not, but
having said that, those are the times. There's no law, or little of
I think that's first evidence of bacon rage. But it's another interesting subject. Perhaps we'll cover that one day.
Pork aside.
Yes.
But, oh dear, sorry. Well, I'd flip off on these. So there you go. I mean, the only sort of authority was the Lord and his housecarls. He could send somebody to arrest somebody if it's obvious.
Or housecarl, in a more general term. And that was yesterday's video, Egil.
Oh, well, there you go.
We had one dislike, 12 likes.
At least they're watching.
Indeed.
So, as I say, that's it in the thumbnail. It's only a thumbnail thing, which I'm sure we will cover in greater length.
I mean, if you take the early Anglo-Saxon times to the much later Anglo-Saxon times, when the Saxons were, at the end of their age, was the punishment different? Or do we not know about early punishment in the Dark Ages?
I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm not absolutely sure.
It's a bit of an academic question, that for you.
I'll have to do a bit of research. I'll get back to you on
You've heard that, folks.
Yeah.
Research.
I do it.
I know you do.
But some of the things I have to answer, I haven't looked at for 40 years.
Well, we don't script these, and although the other day I did figure out we could probably use auto script if we needed to, but we don't script these videos.
It's more fun, isn't it?
We didn't really talk about what we're going to talk about. We just sit down, we just film, and we just do it, and then you get our general approach from what we think about these things from a professional point of view and my amateur point of view. Because interesting, crime and punishment is a very big thing today. Let's face it, Britain has one of the highest prison people in prison in the whole of Europe.
Sounds like it's going to be more with Boris in charge.
Well, maybe so.
Yeah.
Bring on the Boris, but that's another question for another day.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's covered that. Excuse me for the moment.
Yeah, so I think in the next video we'll probably talk about Viking punishment. I mean, was it much different?
Yeah, very different.
So there you go. So Viking punishment for crime,
a lot fairer.
Yes, well, you often hear that, and let's face it, crime is a bad thing, and crime is also a very old thing.
A little tidbit: the word law is actually Viking.
Yes. So we do hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe publish on a Friday or Sunday. We do like our Friday and a Sunday content. And if you've got any suggestions what we can talk about in these little brief history chats,
yeah, leave us a comment.
Oh yes.
Become a subscriber. Be a devil.
Oh yes.
And of course, we could share it on Reddit.
Yes, on Facebook, wherever you may want to share it.
It sounded seamless, that, didn't it?
It did.
You
That's
know?
professional, Egil.
Yeah.
Wow,
I
wow.
haven't the slightest idea what it is, but I know how to say it.
There you go.
Woof. Okay, bye.
Or if you're from Russia, Woofski.
Ah.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.